Hey YouTube, it's Kristen. Welcome to Chatterbox Budgets. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. So I was originally going to do a budget with me for my paycheck on the 24th, but this morning when I was working on that, it was so completely boring that I just couldn't even finish. So I didn't. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to scrap my entire budgeting process. I shouldn't say scrap it, but I'm going to start doing it a different way starting October 1st, and I'm actually really excited about it, but it's going to take a couple of days to get everything figured out because it was just an idea I had at like 6 o'clock this morning. But I wanted to get on and share with you a little bit of my debt journey so that you'll understand why, first of all, why it took me to the age I am now to get to where I could actually pay my bills the way I'm paying them, but also so that you would, when you hear me talk about how good things are going right now, knock on wood, you wouldn't, I don't want to sound like I'm better than anyone else or anything like that. It's taken a long time to get here, and I'm going to appreciate while I have it because there's a chance that, who knows what could happen tomorrow. So anyway, so I declared bankruptcy in 2004. I actually know how much debt I had if I looked. I have the folder with all the paperwork in it still sitting in my office. But I was in a situation based on my own choices, but also based on some people that I trusted. There was one company that, I can't remember what it was called. AmeriDebt's the company name, but they did like debt consolidation or whatever, where you would give them money and they would work with your creditors to accept a lower payment. And there was a class action suit against them where I paid them and they never paid the creditors. So a lot of things had happened that led to my issue that I had with debt. So that happened, and then a couple years later, I lost my job unexpectedly, and at the time, I was not making enough money to survive. So I had check loans, payday loans, overdraft, things like that. So that put us in a really bad position too. And so a lot of the situations that I've been in have been based on things that I couldn't control. But a lot of it was also because I do have a compulsive shopping issue. It's part of my OCD. And I worked really hard the last couple of years to be able to overcome that as much as possible. I still have my moments. For example, let me tell you what I did to get past it, first of all. So back January of 2020, I bought 5 of everything. So I bought 5 pairs of jeans, 5 shirts, 5 sweatshirts. I actually got 10 pairs of socks because that's how they came. But I basically purchased a capsule wardrobe, but also a uniform wardrobe. So all the shirts were the same color, same everything. Because for me, with my OCD, having to make a decision in the morning what to wear is just not a good thing. And so this way, I wouldn't have to think about it. I would just put on whatever shirt. I wear the same thing every day, different. I had enough that I could wash them every day, so they were always clean. But and I didn't care if people thought I was wearing the same shirt I wore the day before. I don't care. I literally do not care. Anyway, so by doing that helped me save some money because now I don't go shopping. I don't go looking for something because what I have doesn't make me happy. I have everything. The exceptions to that were I could not find gym clothes, shirts specifically. I've got pants just fine, but I could not find gym shirts that I liked. And then I could not find pajamas. So I purchased probably pajamas 3 or 4 times over the last 2 years and then ended up donating them because I didn't like them. But besides that, I have done really well on the compulsive shopping. The other thing was I purchase my skincare and stuff. I have a set. I buy from a specific place. I don't try new things. I have everything kind of consistent, and it helps me with my compulsive shopping. Anyway, so by doing that, that's helped me a lot with my shopping. The pandemic, ironically, has also helped with that because who wants to go shopping? I don't want to go in the store anyway, but it's not fun to wander around Walmart for 2 hours with a mask on, looking at, whatever, the newest pajamas, as an example. So anyway, a couple years ago, I put my bills, pardon the hair, this is the end of the day, I put my bills on equal pay, so my utilities are on equal pay. Before that, I would either not pay them because I didn't have the money, or I would pay one and not the other one because I'd get them confused. And so I put those on equal pay about 3 years ago. They've been paid on time every single time ever since then, which has been a first for me. I had never been able to do that before. And then for the last year and a half, I've been paying rent online before the 5th of the month, which is when it's due, or you start accruing fees. And so that was a new thing for me too, because rent was always one of those things where I'd have to ask for help or whatever. So it's been a long journey. I've gone through bankruptcy. I lost all my conveniences for bill pay and things like that. And I had to use cash. I had cash envelopes originally because I was working as a temp and I needed to have the money divided into the different, like I took each paycheck and separated it so I'd have enough for rent or whatever. And then when I lost my checking account a few years later, I had to use money orders. And so I used my coupon organizer that I used for my cash envelopes, basically, to track the money order, the stubs. And also I had like an index card I kept track on for things. So I've done that a lot. And then about 3 years ago, I was able to qualify, or I got a secured Discover card. And it was like $200, $250. And I told myself when I got that card that I would pay that payment on time every single month. Regardless of whether I could pay it in full or not, I would pay it on time every single month. And I did that. And after like 11 months, they returned the deposit and said, okay, we're changing it from a secured card to a full card. And they raised my limit by like $1,000. And unfortunately, we needed that money. There were some situations, some things that were happening with my son and stuff where things were just very tight. So I did max out the card pretty quickly. I did get a Capital One card about the same time, and that one started with a small amount. It wasn't secured, but that one I paid on time every month, and then they ended up increasing my limit. And then a year later, or 2 years later, we were going through a tough time, and so I ended up signing up for a credit card just because I wanted the credit card part, and I didn't pay attention to the small print. So there was a monthly fee, which was like $8 the first year, and then it changed to $12, and then there's a $75 fee per year. And looking back, I'm like, did I really need it that badly? And I probably just wanted to buy something. I don't know. But that's the card that I'm planning on canceling because I don't want to pay the annual fee. I don't need the card. I really don't need it. I don't use it. So anyway, so things have been difficult, but because my son's been on his own for a couple of years now, and he, he's been paying his own car insurance, everything like that. And so I've been able to get to where I have my bills paid for. And so I've had my bills on auto pay for the last 2 years, year and a half. Everything except for rent, which rent I pay manually just because I'm not to the point where I can trust them, or not where I trust that they'll take out exactly what they're supposed to, and what day they're going to take it out. But I'm working on getting there on that one. So, but what I wanted to share is, my credit cards were maxed up out a year ago. And I would pay, like, for example, I would pay my credit card bill and then turn around and use a credit card bill to pay for my internet. So I was always juggling things back and forth. And then about a year ago, I became obsessed with my credit score. Don't remember why, but seeing my credit score and how my payments and my usage of my cards impacted that really made a difference for me. And so I started to actually pay on the cards and not use it again. And I got to where I was paying $10 a month more for each card. Then I got to the point where I was paying twice a month, because they were really small payments. And so then the more I saw my credit score down, the more I became even more obsessed with the idea. And just really, that was the first thing that ever worked for me. And so it really did work. And my dad's like, I've never paid attention to my credit score. I'm like, I could tell you what it is right now. But one thing I wanted to share is, so August 1st is when I first decided to do a loan for my 401k to pay off my credit cards so that I could have one payment and be able to have a lower interest rate, and also have it paid off sooner, because the credit cards were going to be like 3 years if I paid the minimum payment. So I did add this up, so I just have how much they were. But for Capital One, on the 1st of August, I owed $605. For Discover card, I owed $850. For First Premier bank card, I owed $540. For Affirm, which is like a loan, like a merchandise loan, like I bought some crap from Walmart and they loaned me money for it. It's like layaway, only backwards. That one I owed, let's see, hold on, let me see. I wrote it down in here. I wrote it down, I did. So I had two of them. And the first one I owed $250. The second one I owed $284. So I had those. So I was able to get the loan through my 401k, and I paid off those 5 things. And so my payment for Capital One was $25 a month. Discover was $32. First Premier was $38. Affirm was $58 and $51. So my credit score on the 14th of August through TransUnion, it was $719. Equifax, it was $660. Once those payments cleared, because I paid them all in full, Affirm doesn't show on the credit report, but the rest of them do. So once those finally went through, and Discover card raised my limit, I went through and refinanced a personal loan that I'd had for a couple of years that had a 34% APR. The monthly payment was $230, and it was like a $5,600 loan. And I was not happy with any of that. And so, but at the time when I got it, I was desperate. And so I just took what I could take, or what they give me. So I refinanced that one through a different company, and I was able to get a lower APR. So it's, 15.72 APR. So my payment went from $230 a month down to $160 per month. So my plan is to still pay, to pay the $160 and then put the difference between that and the $230 aside in my savings, and then once a quarter pay more money on it, so it'll pay off sooner. So anyway, because I did those two different loans and paid off those other bills, it gave me a little bit of a buffer. So I was able to pay, just put money aside for my credit cards are paid off. Put a little bit of money aside to pay my bills. So that's one reason why I have the money for September's bills already in my account. There were also some extra unexpected income from my work and stuff like that. So that's what got me in this position, but it's only been the last 2 months. I've been working on it for years, but it's only been the last few months that I kind of looked at it and went, hey, I could pay half my bills. Now, the reason I don't pay my bills on the first of the month is because I prefer to have the money in a separate account. It's my bill pay account. It's Capital One. I just barely opened it. I've had my other checking account for years, but I'm going to transfer the money for the bills to that account. So I'm going to do that every payday. I'm paid bi-weekly. And then the money's there for when the bills come through. For me, paying on the first of the month, I'm guaranteed to forget to do it. And so it's just easier this way. So, and I'm still trying to figure out, like, there probably will be some bills that it's better to leave them coming out of my main checking account instead of transferring them over, things like that. Another thing I did is I switched all of my, like, Hulu and Netflix and stuff over to a credit card. Because one thing I learned from someone who had gone through an experience with that is that if you're paying with a credit card, you have a little bit more protection than if you use your debit card. So I pay the credit card off. I have it set up to pay it off every 2 weeks. So I'll just pay whatever the balance is. And so I have one card that I'm using for purchases online, and then another card I'm using for bills or payments online. That way I get alerts from both of them. So when the payments go through, I know. When the charges go through, I know. And but I'm literally paying them off every single time. So with, like, every Saturday, if the charges have all gone through, I'll make the payment. If they haven't gone through yet, I'll wait until like Wednesday or whenever, and then I'll make the payment. So, and I've been using a Visa card for my groceries and gas and stuff since January, and I have not paid interest yet on that card because I pay it off every week. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it's not easy to get here. I have been in debt since I was 16, and I'm 44. So this is the first time I can breathe, and I am so protective of that credit score. In fact, it went down. The one through Equifax went down after they posted my payment for Capital One when I paid it off, and I was like, what? Why did it go down 30 points? And so it really makes me very anxious. So I've had to get to the point where I don't check it that frequently. I get an email when it changes, but it took a long time to get here. I have to be very careful. It's very hard for someone who's a compulsive shopper to resist. Like, I want a new tablet so bad, and the one I have is only 2 years old. I paid $79 for it. It works just fine. It has a stylus. It works just fine. But I want a new one so badly, and the money's there on I have the funds available on my credit card. My credit card's paid off. I could go buy it. But every time I think about it, I'm like, no, because I have to pay that, and I don't want to go there. So it took me till now to get to where I can do this and have the willpower, basically, to not go and use my credit card to go buy a tablet that I don't need. And I mean, it's still tempting. Like, at least once a day, I think about how much, and usually it's when I'm driving past Best Buy, I think about how much I want that that tablet. But then I'm like, okay, nope, I don't want to spend that kind of money. I don't need to worry about that. I don't want my credit score getting impacted. And so luckily, it also helps that I like paper and pen, and I just bought new planner inserts for next year, and so I'm very careful about that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it's not easy. I have been budgeting for almost 20 years, if not 20 years. I have been trying to get out of debt for that long. And yes, I do still have loans. I've got one loan that's $7,000 because it's just brand new. The other one is It was $4,500, and I've paid off like 200 or no, 400 now. But I thought very carefully about those. So let me share one thing with you. So I follow Mary Hunt's debt-proof living principles. I don't like Dave Ramsey's baby steps, and I don't like Dave Ramsey's plans. So I try really hard to support those who do, but I disagree with a lot of it. So anyway, we won't talk about that. So debt-proof living principles. This is from Mary Hunt's book, Debt-Proof Living. So number 1, never keep it all. Donate 10% is what she recommends. You could donate whatever you can, but donate something, because donating helps keep you humble and other things. Read the book. It's good. Always save some. She recommends 10%, which is why those 2 things are not listed on my budgets, because they're already taken care of. Number 3, God is the source. Number 4, pay with cash for day-to-day living, which is where cash envelopes come in handy. Yes, I do use a credit card, but I have the cash on hand, and it's paid every week. No new debt. Don't go to Best Buy and buy a tablet you don't need. That would be me, not you. You can go spend your money however you want to. You need a specific strategy. You need a written plan. So I call mine, instead of calling mine a monthly budget, it's a monthly spending plan. More money is not the answer. I could have 5 jobs, and if I'm going to go blow the money at Walmart buying clothes I don't need, not going to help. So it's just not always the answer. Money is not just for spending. Manage it now, spend it later. Things like that. Manage first, spend later. Number 9, it's not how much money you earn, but what you do with it that matters. So one thing that I got from the book, debt-proof living is a lifestyle in which you spend less than you earn, you give, save, and invest confidently and consistently. Your financial decisions are purposeful. You borrow cautiously. Doesn't say you don't borrow. You borrow cautiously. Not saying you should borrow. You anticipate the unexpected, you scrutinize your purchases, and you reach your goals by following a specific plan. So I recommend reading the book, or at least looking at it. I'm not saying that those methods will work for everybody, but I also don't think that the Dave Ramsey baby steps and everything work for everybody. Zero-based budget for me doesn't work, because half the time up until now I've been like, my account was negative. So how can I do a zero-based budget when I've got to start with, negative $25 or whatever? So you have to find something that works for you. And I'm not here to preach. I'm really not. I'm not here to tell you how awesome cash envelopes are. No, actually I am here to tell you that. But if it works better for you to use your credit card and then go pay it off every week, do it. It works better for you to pay cash every week. Do it. Do whatever you want to do, not what I tell you to do. But I will share with you my story, my experiences, what it was like being a single parent who worked 1 job and who did not receive income. Child support. Very, very grateful though, because I also didn't have to deal with that person. Anyway, this is way longer than I meant to be. I just wanted you to know that it's taken me a long time to get here, and there's no guarantee I'll fall apart tomorrow. But if it does, it'll be those circumstances beyond my control, not because I went out and blew everything on whatever, although that could still happen. But I'm trying really hard. I share with my VIP. I talk to him about this stuff all the time. I feel like that's one way that it holds me accountable, because I don't want to say, oh, guess what? I went and spent that $800 on that tablet that we talked about that I said I wasn't going to buy. So I also have, a couple different people that I could talk to, but the most important thing is to find your own path, find your own way that works for you. Learn about yourself. Learn what works for yourself. I know I'm a compulsive shopper. I know I have OCD. So for me, having 5 black shirts works great. For you, you may want 1 of every color, or have to have 25. Totally different. Minimalism is actually not a bad thing. Well, of course it's not a bad thing. I love minimalism. I've tried it. I'm still trying it. Anyway, this is way longer than I want it to be, but I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for letting me ramble at you. Come back. I will have more, and my new budget plan is going to be odd. I think it'll be fun because it's going to be different than what other people do, and it's intentionally that way, because I tend somehow, if everything that everybody else does, I want to do the opposite. Not on purpose, it's just how my brain works. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great night. Take care.